6 years ago, upon learning of his wife Moonlight's unexpected pregnancy, he abandoned me to provide constant care for her at the hospital, later sending me abroad to study to avoid potential jealousy-fueled outbursts that might distress her. 6 years later, he invited me to his wedding with his wife Moonlight and was astonished to see a child resembling me by my side. Before he could inquire, I proactively introduced her, stating, "This is Mia, my daughter." Ethan shouted at me in a frenzied manner, "Zoe, how dare you marry and have a child without my consent?" To which I calmly retorted, "Didn't you say that as long as I don't interfere with you and Luna, I could do as I please?" While en route to pick up my child from school, I received a call from Ethan. Despite having deleted his number long ago, I instantly recognized the name associated with the digits displayed on my phone. "Zoe, Luna and I are holding our wedding next month. The date was set hastily, and she needs a bridesmaid since you're her old acquaintance. Please come back to assist," he said, to which I responded with a single okay before ending the call. Mia gazed at me with wide, round eyes and asked, "Mom, who was that?" I replied, "An old friend is getting married and invited us back to the country for the wedding," prompting her excited response, "Really?" Mia has never been to a wedding before. Initially, I intended to disregard anything related to Ethan, but considering he had funded my university education abroad, I felt obliged to show some respect now that he was getting married. Furthermore, Mia, having grown up without returning to the country, deserved this opportunity to visit and meet relatives and friends. Upon the plane's landing, Ethan offered to pick me up, an offer I declined, though I knew he would persist regardless. Consequently, I arranged for my sister to bring Mia on a later flight to prevent her from encountering Ethan. "Long time no see, Zoe," he said, followed by, "Come, call her sister." Ethan did not come alone. Luna and her daughter accompanied him, the latter asking, "Mom, who is this?" Luna appeared uncertain of how to explain, casting a puzzled glance at Ethan, who took her hand and said, "Chloe, this is Daddy's sister," only for Chloe to correct him, "Daddy's wrong. Daddy's sister shouldn't be called sister, she should be called aunt." Ethan lifted the child, affectionately tapping her nose, exclaiming, "My little one has grown up. Now you're even smarter than Daddy. How are you so amazing?" Luna seized the moment to link arms with Ethan, offering me an awkward smile and saying, "Zoe, we're truly inconveniencing you. This minor matter of our wedding required you to travel such a distance from abroad." Originally, there was a date set for the year after next, but Ethan's to blame. He said it was too long to wait, so he scheduled the wedding for this year. "The timeline is so tight that many preparations couldn't be completed in time, so you must help me admonish him this time to stop being so impulsive." Uninterested in engaging with Luna, I bypassed her and addressed Ethan directly, stating, "I've arranged a car, I'll be leaving now." Before Ethan could reply, the child interjected, "Mom, this auntie is so rude, I don't want her to be my aunt." "Don't talk nonsense." Luna feigned a light tap on her hand before turning to me, "Zoe, she's just a child and speaks thoughtlessly, please don't take it to heart. I won't let you bully my mom." Chloe suddenly began struggling and wailing loudly. Luna swiftly took her from Ethan's arms, consoling her as she stepped aside, leaving Ethan and me facing each other. Ethan was the first to grow agitated, exclaiming, "Zoe, after all these years, why haven't you accepted reality? This is an adult matter, what does it have to do with the child?" Today, Luna deliberately set aside wedding preparations to join me in picking you up, and you treat her with this attitude? He continued, "After this wedding, I hope you can fully return to your own life, and we never meet again." Ethan turned and left, and as their figures faded, I couldn't suppress a wry chuckle. Mia and my sister's flight was due to land around the same time, so I decided to wait at the airport for us to return together. During the idle wait, I incessantly replayed Ethan's recent words in my mind. Tears involuntarily streamed down my cheeks as I silently vowed that after attending his wedding, I would sever all ties with him permanently. I hadn't anticipated that, after 6 years apart, Ethan would still opt to perpetually aggrieve me upon our reunion. Upon first seeing me, Mia enveloped me in a tight embrace, exclaiming, "Mom, why are you crying? Who bullied you?" I gently patted Mia's head, reassuring her, "Mia, be good, as long as you're here, no one dares to bully Mom." After lulling Mia to sleep that night, I browsed Instagram, where Ethan, as usual, posted about his child. Today, the little one took first place at the parent-child sports meet. So great! In the photo, Ethan held the child while Luna stood beside him, arm in arm, all three bearing identical smiles, resembling a family of three more than ever. Back then, Luna's unexpected pregnancy prompted the child's father to flee the country to evade responsibility. Unwilling to let her child be born fatherless, she turned to Ethan, who, predictably, couldn't bear to see her endure pregnancy alone and abandoned me to care for her incessantly. On multiple occasions, I tearfully tried to stop him, only for him to angrily overturn our glass coffee table and storm out, yelling, "Zoe, can't you be reasonable? She's in her 10th month of pregnancy and needs protection and care if anything happens to her or the child, won't your conscience ache? She's not carrying my child, why should I feel pained?" This was her choice. If she'd been more rational back then and not aired. Enough. Stop talking. If anyone's to blame, it's me for not being by her side all these years to protect her, he interrupted. Infuriated, I confronted Luna, demanding, "Luna, this isn't Ethan's child, on what basis do you make him responsible?" She replied, "Because Ethan loves me, and by extension, everything tied to me. Don't you grasp such a simple principle?" I was livid, but before I could say much more, Luna feigned abdominal pain, prompting a servant to rush her to the hospital, an event that naturally alarmed Ethan, who thereafter remained by her side without stepping away. A month before Luna's due date, Ethan approached me, saying, "Zoe, Luna will give birth next month. For caution's sake, I don't want her distressed by you. You've always mentioned studying abroad. I've arranged everything overseas, so don't worry. The flight is the day after tomorrow, and Lao Lu will take you directly to the school." In the past, I'd have died before relinquishing my place to Luna, but now I understood that forcing an unripe fruit yields no sweetness. Thus, I neither cried nor protested, simply replying, "Okay." A rehearsal preceded the wedding, as the G family's wealth and prominence demanded a scale beyond ordinary households, necessitating flawless execution. Ethan called me over to discuss some wedding details, and upon entering, I found Luna applying makeup. "Zoe, you're here?" she said, glancing at the child playing games on her phone in the corner. Noting her lack of response, Luna prompted, "Chloe, look who's here." The child briefly looked up at me, recognized me, and returned to her screen with a disdainful expression. Luna, undeterred, insisted, "Chloe, how did Mom and Dad teach you? When guests arrive, be polite, greet her quickly." Seeing her unmoved, Luna strode over and snatched the gaming device from her hands. Though displeased, the child approached me and spat on me, saying, "Hello, Auntie." Only then did Luna hurriedly intervene, feigning a reprimand, "You child. What's this? She's Daddy's sister, not Mom's. You should call her aunt. If your dad saw this, he'd surely discipline you. Apologize to your aunt quickly," she urged, but the child retorted, "Daddy loves me so much he wouldn't discipline me." "I won't apologize. If you dare, let Daddy scold me." Luna tapped the child's shoulder, prompting her to dash toward the exit. I grabbed her momentarily, but she broke free swiftly, leaving Luna visibly shocked, likely unprepared for me to take issue with her child. She then offered an awkward smile, saying, "Zoe, don't be upset. Chloe was just playing with you," to which I replied, "I can distinguish play from mischief." She spat on me. "Does she typically play with you this way?" Noting my seriousness, Luna added, "This is really Ethan's fault. He's very close to Chloe and spoils her excessively. When I try to correct her, he forbids it, so she's become willful. Kids these days are tough to manage, you'll see when you have your own." I let out a soft hum, remarking, "If you can't discipline your child properly, why blame the child?" Just then, Mia ran in, calling, "Mom." My sister entered to explain, "I have urgent business at the company and had to bring her here. I'll leave now." Turning back, I saw Luna's mouth agape in shock. "Is this your child?" As Mia said, "Mom, I need to use the restroom." Ignoring Luna's comment, I said, "Excuse me," and led Mia to the restroom. Perhaps due to adjusting to the local environment, I suffered stomach discomfort and had to leave Mia waiting outside. Perhaps I took too long. As Mia began crying, rushing out, I reached the door just as Ethan's voice asked, "Little one, what's wrong?" to which she replied, "Mom's inside with a stomachache and hasn't come out for a long time. I'm worried she's unwell." Ethan was about to summon a nearby female attendant to check when I emerged. Mia flung herself into my arms, calling Mom, leaving Ethan utterly dumbfounded. "Let me introduce you, this is my daughter, Mia," I said. He looked up at me, his face turning ashen, and asked, "Your biological child?" To which I nodded. Unable to contain himself, Ethan suddenly roared like a madman, "Zoe, how dare you marry and have a child without my permission?" I remained unruffled, replying, "Ethan, didn't you say that as long as I don't disturb you and Luna, I can do as I wish?" Mia, frightened, shrank into my arms. Ethan glanced at her, as if something dawned on him. He then crouched down, adopting a gentle tone. "Your name is Mia, right?" Mia nodded, and he continued, "Hello, Mia, tell Uncle how old you are." Mia glanced at me, I nodded, and she replied, extending one hand, "Uncle, I'm 5 years old this year." Ethan fixed his gaze on me, his expression darkening further, then asked, "Mia, can you tell Uncle who your dad is?" I scooped Mia up, intending to leave, but Ethan urgently grasped my wrist, saying, "Zoe, is this necessary?" I turned back, asking, "What do you mean?" Ethan released my hand, stating, "I advise you to abandon these unrealistic fantasies. Do you think that, like Luna, having a child would make me jealous and compel me to return to you? It's utterly absurd." I initially intended to ignore him, but his remarks left me speechless. I sneered, "Ethan, I suggest you stop flattering yourself. This child has no connection to you." Before departing, I added, "Oh, by the way, after the wedding, I'll take Mia abroad and never return. Ethan can rest assured that no drama involving a child threatening the primary spouse's position will unfold." I didn't observe Ethan's expression, but I surmised it wasn't pleasant, as I overheard a waiter inform him that Luna was looking for him, to which he snapped irritably, "I know. She can wait a moment, it won't kill her." After I'd walked some distance, Mia ventured to ask, "Mom, who was that uncle just now?" I struggled to explain my relationship with Ethan to her, given that the G and Joe families were once close allies. After the Joe family's bankruptcy, my father fled abroad, and my mother, after entrusting me to Erica's care, vanished. I essentially grew up in Ethan's shadow, a classic childhood companion, and after we attended the same university, mutual affection developed between us. He forewent an advantageous marriage alliance with a prominent family to be with me resolutely. Ted and Erica, who were very fond of me, not only approved but thereafter regarded me as the G family's prospective daughter-in-law. Our bond was strong until Luna's arrival shattered all sweetness completely. Noticing my daze, Mia tweaked my nose, asking, "Mom, why aren't you speaking?" I responded, "That uncle just now is Mom's brother." "Why have I never heard Mom has a brother?" she queried, to which I replied, "Brother and Mom aren't close, and Mia has never met him, so Mom forgot to mention it. It's Mom's fault." "Mom, should I call that uncle maternal uncle?" she asked, gazing at Mia's face. I froze momentarily and offered no reply. With some time remaining before the official wedding, a flu epidemic struck recently. My sister fell ill first, and due to prolonged contact, Mia and I couldn't escape it either. Mia suffered persistent fevers unrelieved by medication or injections, necessitating another hospital visit. Unexpectedly, I encountered Ethan at the hospital with Luna and Chloe. Ethan was holding a frail Chloe, indicating she too was seriously unwell. Luna spoke first, asking, "Zoe, is the child okay?" "She's fine, thank you for your concern," I replied. She continued, "This flu is really troublesome lately. Chloe's been coughing at home intermittently. Thankfully, Ethan's here to care for her well. A child's cold isn't trivial, you should take extra care." I couldn't suppress a few soft coughs. In truth, I was extremely dizzy today, yet to ensure Mia's swift recovery, I forced myself to bring her to the doctor first. Ethan, holding Chloe, stepped forward unconsciously, asking, "You, is Mia okay?" This gesture visibly irked Luna, though she jested with Ethan. "We mothers grow strong for our children, we can endure anything for them, so don't fuss over us unnecessarily." "Mom, I feel so bad," Chloe said. Luna added, "Ethan, Chloe isn't wearing a mask. With so many people in the hospital, reinfection would be unfortunate. Let's not delay Zoe from getting her child treated. Any delay harms the child." I understood her subtext but, for Mia's sake, chose not to engage. Ethan furrowed his brow. As I turned to leave, he called, "Zoe." Looking back, I saw him hand Chloe to Luna. He approached alone, asking, "Ethan, anything else?" He replied, "Your complexion looks off. Raising a child alone isn't easy if you need help." Before he finished, I cut in, "No need for politeness, Ethan. If I need assistance, I'll seek doctors or nurses. Thank you for your kindness." After speaking, Ethan hesitated, then, with a troubled look, followed me as if still concerned. As he reached to take Mia from my arms, Luna comforted a sobbing Chloe. "Chloe, be good. Mom knows you're unwell. Dad's going to help another child see the doctor but will return to you soon, so don't cry, sweetheart." Seeing this, Ethan glanced at Mia again. I said, "Go be with Chloe. I don't need your help." Chloe's cries intensified. Ethan said, "If you need anything, call me. I'll come right over," then jogged to Chloe, lifting her as Luna grabbed his arm, hastening his departure. I stayed with Mia during her 4-drip. She seemed slightly more alert than upon arrival, while I suffered a throbbing headache, clutching my forehead continuously. Mia retrieved a bottle of hot water from the bag and pressed it to my forehead, saying, "Mom, I know you're unwell too after my drip. I'll go with you to see the doctor." I offered a reassuring smile, not wanting Mia to worry, saying, "Mia's so good. She's grown up and can care for Mom now." Mia glanced at a family of 3 nearby and suddenly said, "Mom, if Dad were here, you wouldn't have to care for me alone so hard." I pulled her into my arms, replying, "Mia, be good. Mom isn't struggling." Somehow, I fainted. Upon waking, I saw Mia by my bedside, exhaled deeply, and grasped her hand quickly. "Mom, you're finally awake," she cried, hugging me as I patted her back gently, my head still aching, about to ask what had happened. Ethan entered with a thermos of hot water. I asked, "Why are you here?" He replied, "You just fainted. Mia couldn't wake you and wanted to fetch a doctor. Fortunately, I saw her and rushed over." Ethan poured a cup of hot water and handed it to me, then summoned a nurse. Bending down, he placed his hands on Mia's shoulders, saying, "Mia, Uncle needs to talk to Mom. Can you go play with the nurse sister for a bit?" Mia glanced at me. I knew Ethan had likely uncovered something. His gaze toward Mia and me had been off since entering. Given his persistent nature, he wouldn't relent without answers. I nodded to Mia, and the nurse led her out. "Zoe, why did you lie? Why hide everything from me?" Ethan demanded as I looked at him puzzled, silent. "I just saw Mia's records. She's 6 this year." "That means, before you went abroad." "Don't overthink it. The records are a clerical error. Mia's only 5, Ethan. She's not your daughter," I interjected. Ethan's eyes reddened instantly. "Zoe, how long will you keep deceiving me?" I turned my head to the window, sipping the hot water. "Then tell me, if Mia isn't mine, who's her father? Where is he?" He pressed. "You don't need to know who her father is. He's abroad. We're on good terms, and Mia's happy. You needn't concern yourself, Ethan," I replied. "Zoe, you're so heartless," he exclaimed. "I just asked Mia. She said she has no dad, only a mom." "Tell me the truth now. Is she mine?" "She only said her dad isn't in the country." "You misunderstood," I countered. Ethan persisted with his questioning. I knew he'd deduced the truth, lacking only my confirmation. He understood that without my admission, even if Mia were his biological daughter, he couldn't claim her. "Dad." We turned simultaneously to see Luna's daughter Chloe at the door. Ethan ignored her, instead addressing Luna irritably, "Why are you here?" "I asked the doctor, who said you were here, so I came." I didn't want to interrupt, but Chloe's unwell and kept insisting on seeing Dad. I had no choice but to bring her, Luna explained. "Chloe, let's go. You see Dad's busy," Luna said, but Chloe broke free and threw herself into Ethan's arms, crying, "No, I want Dad here. Dad, Chloe feels bad and wants you to tell me a story." Ethan glanced at me reluctantly. Seeing no immediate response, Chloe clutched his hand and wailed, "Dad, don't you want Chloe anymore? Don't abandon me. I'm scared." Ethan eventually led Chloe away. I got out of bed to find Mia, asking what Ethan had inquired about earlier. Her account aligned closely with what he'd told me. Returning to the ward, Mia was unusually subdued, appearing distracted. I asked, "Mia, what's wrong?" She replied, "Mom, who's this strange uncle?" Why does he keep asking about my dad? I don't even have a dad. Didn't Mom tell you? He's Mom's brother maybe because he hasn't seen me in so long, and since I'm your mom, he wants to know how we've been abroad, I explained. Mia nodded, half understanding. When will Uncle come again? Mia asked, tilting her head up at me. I paused, wondering if a deep father-daughter bond had stirred some awareness in her. Uncle is very busy with work and can't visit Mia often. Besides, we'll be going home soon, and since he lives here, it's not convenient for him to see Mia frequently, I answered. Mia's smile faded, replaced by deep disappointment, as she said, I just saw Uncle holding a little girl's hand. Is that his daughter? I nodded. Suddenly, I felt a pang of sympathy for Mia. This wasn't the first time Ethan had forsaken her for Luna's child. When I discovered my pregnancy, he hadn't returned home for over a month. At that time, Ethan and I were out of contact. Learning of the pregnancy filled me with both excitement and conflict. We both adored children and had countless times lain in his arms, imagining our future child's appearance. He'd said he wanted a daughter, naming her Chloe in advance, hoping she'd grow steadily without emotional turmoil. Yet, astonishingly, he bestowed that name on Luna's daughter instead. Before heading to the hospital, I resolved to find him and share the news in person, but he refused to meet me. Unwilling to relent, I planned to wait outside his company until I saw him. He instructed his assistant to relay that Luna was in his office, urging me not to cause trouble and warning that if I upset Luna and harmed the child, he wouldn't forgive me easily. That he'd issue such harsh words for Luna's sake left me trembling with grief, unable to even hold the medical report steady. Intending to taxi to the hospital, I distractedly gave the wrong address, and the driver took me home. There, I collapsed on the cold floor, weeping bitterly, ultimately resolving to terminate the pregnancy. Soon after, Ethan arranged for my departure abroad, an action that solidified my resolve. I knew I'd never let him know of Mia's existence. Over the years, as he frequently showcased Luna's child on Instagram, I wondered if he realized he'd perfectly missed his own child's growth. Shortly after my discharge, Ethan messaged me, Zoe, with so much happening, why didn't you tell me? I knew his resources made tracing my overseas life these past years a feasible task. Ethan scheduled a meeting at a coffee shop we once frequented. I recognized that avoidance was no longer viable. To resolve this fully, I had to confront it head-on. You know everything? I asked. Ethan didn't respond, instead sliding a paternity test report toward me with both hands. He picked up a coffee cup, his hands trembling slightly, spilling a few drops onto the report. He hastily wiped it clean with his suit sleeve and placed it on a nearby chair. He cautiously asked, Zoe, have you and Mia been well these years? I replied, whether we've fared well or not concerns only us mother and daughter. It's largely irrelevant to you. He pressed, Zoe, you had Mia. Why didn't you tell me before leaving? Why? If I'd known earlier. Ethan, how forgetful you are. Didn't I seek you out? Back then, you drove me away for Luna's sake, saying that if my presence harmed her child, you'd never forgive me even in death. As a vulnerable woman with a child, I feared that upsetting Luna would provoke your retaliation against us, I countered. Years have passed. I'm no longer the girl who only wept in distress. Now, I faced Ethan squarely, my words laced with resolute indifference. Ashamed, he bowed his head, and upon raising it, avoided my gaze, frantically slapping his own face. It's all my fault. All my fault. I've wronged you and Mia. I'm inhuman. I've let you both down. I'm not human. He cried. I merely picked up the coffee and took a small sip. Even if he beat himself to death today, it wouldn't concern me, let alone expect my forgiveness. Ethan, if you invited me here just to watch your performance, let's not waste time. Mia's waiting at home, I said, grabbing my bag to stand, but Ethan seized my hands, as if suddenly possessed. Zoe, it was indeed my mistake. Back then I feared Luna couldn't handle abandonment and might harm herself. I sent you abroad to reflect on your temperament, intending to personally retrieve you after your studies, he pleaded. Now that you're back, can't you give me a chance for Mia's sake? I think she wants her dad around too, he continued. I've been absent from your lives for years, causing you so much hardship. Let me spend the future by your side, caring for and compensating you both, okay? He implored. I couldn't stifle a laugh. Ethan, stop making me laugh. Aren't you afraid Luna will be hurt again? Since you're so kind, see it through fully. Mia and I are doing fine. Do us a favor and stop disrupting us. Mia wanting her dad around isn't wrong, but if she knew her father abandoned her for another child back then. I trailed off. Ethan grasped my implication, rising to detain me but rooted by my words. I left the coffee shop. Through the glass, I saw him collapse onto the chair, clutching his hair chaotically until a waiter approached to check on him. He hurled the coffee cup to the floor, sparking panic in the shop, then flipped the table before him. As I boarded my car, his anguished wails echoed across the street. Shortly thereafter, Ethan cancelled his wedding with Luna, triggering a massive online uproar and nationwide debate overnight. By then, I'd packed and planned to take Mia abroad. This move abroad stemmed from my sister and brother-in-law securing foreign investment. We'd relocate together to start a new venture in another country, beyond the G family's reach, and I intended to settle there permanently. I didn't want Mia to learn of the love and strife between Ethan and me before her birth, desiring her to grow up in a nurturing, blissful environment. I never foresaw Luna channeling her fury over the wedding's cancellation onto me, believing I'd sabotaged it or leveraged a child to threaten Ethan. I'd long known she wouldn't remain passive as her prize slipped away. Moreover, it was rumored Ethan publicly declared Chloe wasn't a G family child, a double blow that both devastated Luna and drove her to desperation. I expected her to target me, but shockingly, she had Mia kidnapped. That day, my sister took Mia to an amusement park. Midway, she called, saying Mia was missing. I promptly alerted the police and rushed to the site, recalling Luna's threatening message from days prior. Zoe, if you don't return Ethan to me, I'll take. I hastily reviewed the message, noting its lack of punctuation, indicating it was unfinished. I'd assumed she meant reclaiming Ethan from me, never considering reconciliation. I ignored it, only now realizing I'd misjudged her target. I forwarded the message to the police, who began tracking Luna, but she and Chloe had vanished. Suspecting Ethan might reach her, I called him. He arrived swiftly, assuring me he'd deployed people to search and would rescue Mia from Luna, urging me not to worry. At that moment, my phone buzzed with Luna's message. Zoe, why did you return? You cost Chloe her father and left us mother and daughter with nothing overnight. Your daughter's in my hands. If you want her back, trade your life for hers. Ethan notified the police while buying time, leading me and his bodyguards to the scene. Luna, hair disheveled, shrieked upon seeing me. Likely spotting Ethan with me, she seemed struck by intense shock, laughing maniacally, her mental state clearly unstable, yelling, "Husband, come quick. I've reclaimed our daughter. Let's expel this wretch abroad and live happily as a family of 4. Ethan blocked me, approaching Luna slowly, saying, "Wife, you're still considerate. Let me see Mia first so I can take her away, preventing this wretch from stealing her." Ethan nearly succeeded, but Luna abruptly hoisted Mia, a sheer cliff behind her, screaming, "Husband, you're deceiving me. You're conspiring with her, aren't you? If I can't thrive, neither will you." As she prepared to let go, my heart plummeted. First, Ethan, seeing the urgency, told Luna, "I've captured Chloe. Put Mia down, or Chloe faces the same fate. If you want Chloe safe, don't move." Luna froze, stunned. She hadn't expected Ethan to threaten her child. Her body weakened, collapsing to the ground. Ethan, seizing her distraction, signaled his bodyguard, who diverted her focus and snatched Mia away. Luna reached to reclaim her, but Ethan thrust her off the cliff into the abyss below, as countless police arrived behind him. Ethan took Mia from the bodyguard, walked toward me, handed her over, then raised his hands and was escorted away by the police. Luna perished instantly. Later, I learned Ethan had indeed had Chloe seized. When I asked why, he explained that Chloe was Luna's sole vulnerability. Holding her provided leverage to negotiate and prevent harm to Mia. Since Ethan had undeniably saved Mia, I visited him before departing abroad. "Zoe, you're here. I've waited long," he said, eyes teary, hoping for redemption. "Yes, I'm here to bid farewell. I'll take Mia abroad and won't return," I said. "Zoe, you're still angry, aren't you?" "I never loved Luna. I just couldn't bear it back then. I married her because the Sue family held G family secrets, aiming to use the wedding for massive PR," he countered. Sending you abroad wasn't just about Luna. The G group faced a crisis then. You were my weakness, and I feared they'd use you against me. I planned to bring you back for marriage after your studies, he added. Zoe, I urged, don't take Mia away, please? I'll strive for good behavior and early release. How can I rest easy with you and Mia alone abroad? He pleaded. I ceased heeding Ethan's pleas. However many reasons split us, they paled against years of experience. I knew the moment Luna appeared, he'd been swayed. Thank you for saving Mia, I said, preparing to end the call and leave. Ethan gazed at me pleadingly. Zoe, will Mia and I ever acknowledge each other in this lifetime? I hope you won't disturb our lives. Mia doesn't want it either. Please respect our wishes, I replied. I hung up, leaving Ethan in despair, and turned to go. Before departing, Ted and Erica rushed to the airport. Seeing Mia, they dashed forward, embracing her tightly. Mia, unfazed by the suddenness, waited until they released her. Mia walked to me, took my hand, and said, Mom, let's go. I never want to return. I only have Mom, and that's enough. Tears of joy welled up as I told her, Mia's so good. Ethan's perspective. That day, my assistant reported Zoe was waiting downstairs while I negotiated with Alan. I didn't want their people to see her. Knowing the Sue family's ruthlessness, they'd exploit Zoe as a bargaining chip if they knew she was my weakness. Zoe lingered at the entrance, refusing to leave without seeing me. Per the assistant, in a pinch, I had them convey that Luna was in my office and I didn't want her presence to upset Luna. To ensure she'd agree to my plan to send her abroad, I even threatened that if she caused issues for Luna's child, I wouldn't let it slide easily. Subsequently, Zoe complied, abandoning everything here to study overseas. I kept posting about the child on Instagram to keep Zoe aware of me, despite knowing she'd lost faith in me and likely despised me. Fearing she'd miss me, I used these posts to share selfies, admittedly pathetic, but my only means to connect with her. Marrying Luna was a necessity. The Sue family held substantial commercial dirt on the G family. We learned they planned to use online opinion to tarnish us, impacting the G family significantly. Knowing Mr. Xia valued partner reputation, their move at this juncture could jeopardize our deal with him. Weighing options, we announced the G son's grand wedding for PR. Years of hyping a couple persona with Luna paid off, using fan enthusiasm to divert attention and temporarily suppress the Sue family's minor leaks. I thought post-wedding, securing Mr. Xia's investment would see the G family through the crisis, allowing me to then find Zoe abroad and explain everything. Selfishly, I knew she resented me over Luna and hoped the wedding would bring her back, revealing if she'd be jealous. I wanted to see her care. Finally, on her return day, I intended to pick her up alone, but Luna insisted on joining, and time constraints forced me to bring them along. Her first glance at me lacked reunion warmth. I was just a stranger to her, shattering my heart completely in that instant. Exiting the restroom, I noticed a child at the door resembling Zoe, sparking an ominous hunch. Could it be? When the girl called Zoe Mom, I couldn't believe Zoe had married and had a child. I reassured myself she'd staged it out of jealousy, yet the child's Zoe-like face lingered inescapably in my mind. On the wedding's eve, avoiding Luna, I stayed at the company. She arrived with a feverish Chloe, threatening to let her condition worsen unless I took them to the doctor. Myself left with no choice, I complied. Unexpectedly, I saw Zoe and Mia at the hospital. Zoe held Mia, her face flushed and gait unsteady. I offered help, which she declined. Worried after she left, I took Chloe to the lounge and sought them out, sitting behind Zoe as she tended to Mia's foredrip. Mia panicked. Zoe had fainted. I rushed forward, carrying Zoe to a doctor. That day, glimpsing Mia's records, I realized she might be my daughter. Unable to resist, I confronted Zoe. Her demeanor confirmed my suspicions. I regretted deeply yet felt relieved. Sending them abroad was the only way to ensure their safety. I told my parents, who were thrilled to learn of a granddaughter. We agreed that even if it ruined the G family, I couldn't marry Luna yet. I never anticipated her extreme reaction to the cancellation, threatening death. When Zoe called saying Mia was missing, I felt the world collapse. I immediately sent people for Chloe, knowing Luna couldn't kidnap alone. She must have had Sue family aid and guidance. Mia was finally rescued. Zoe's willingness to see me before leaving abroad left me content. In my current state, I couldn't offer her a good future, so I asked my parents to embrace my daughter for me, hoping Zoe and Mia could forget all and start anew overseas.